wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to our fifth session of Ilm Sarf. Today, we're going to be discussing a very important segment of Ilm Sarf, and that is the things, the changes that occur upon a word. And there are like about 6 of those
31
segments that I'd like to discuss today. But because we're not going to have enough time, so I would just be discussing 5 of them, and I'll leave the 6th one for tomorrow's class. You see, the changes that occur in a word are, like, for example, you see in a word that one of the letters of that word has been deleted, omitted, or added to that word of, that consists of huruf asli. Upon those huruf asli, you see in a word that there is an extra letter. And then you see that sometimes even the harf asli of the word, one of the letters has been deleted or omitted. And then you see that the signs or the vowels of a letter have been changed through a different pattern. You see that from one word it has been changed to another word, and you see the different vowel on one word and a different on the other. And then sometimes you see that the letters have merged together, which is called idgham in Arabic. 2 letters have become a single letter. So these are some of the changes that I need to discuss with you today. Now, if we can share upon our screen, you will see, if I request Jafri Saab to share upon our screen, please, Jafri Saab, can you share that on our screen? I wrote down these notes today, and I'm going to discuss this with you today. And after the class, if you please go through these notes, it's going to be very useful for you. I'll also be sharing it, and Jafri Saab will also be sharing it in the group as a document as well for all of you to see later on. You see, for example, the changes that occur on the word. If you see the first side of it is, like, for example, Allama. Yeah, Allama, what I've done is that, sorry, alim. Now, the word alim, you see that there is alif in it. What I've done is that I've made it black. Why? Because that, as you can see, is harfe zaid. And then likewise in fa'il, you see that the alif over there is also harfe zaid, and this harfe zaid is repeated. So alim, on the word scale, if you match it with the word scale, what you'll do is you'll repeat the same structure of the word in the same pattern, and in the same manner, alim will become fa'il. And then in the other instance where you find that you see the word jalbaba, yeah, and that in this word, if you see that in the last, I've made the last bar to be black. Why? Because the previous bar that you see on your screen is harf asli, and the last bar is harf zaid. So what do? Now, if you see these 2 words, I'd like to explain again. In alim, you find that the alif is zaid, and you've repeated the same. Alim is equal to fa'il. Now, I'd like to tell you that there's a systematic kind of a thing, a scientific way. All of the changes that occur upon all of the words in Arabic is through a very systematic way, a scientific way, kind of like mathematical. Once you get the hang of it, then inshallah everything is going to become very easy as the classes go on and on. Inshallah, everything is going to become easier and easier. Now, as I was saying, that the word that you see alim, is equal to fa'il, now you see that an, and lam and mim are huruf asli. Fe, an, and lam is huruf asli. The letter repeated in it is from huruf zaid. Now the letter that is repeated in it, because it is from harf zaid, it is going to be repeated on the word scale as well. You see? Therefore, alim, fa'il. Allama, fa'ala. Alim, fa'il. Alif is repeated in both words. So alif is repeated in both words. Why? Because it is from harf zaid, right? But not from the root letters. It is repeated. It is not repeated, I'm sorry. It is added, but it is not from the root letters. In the second instance, you will find that the harf asli is repeated. You see the difference? In the first instance, the harf zaid, there was a harf zaid, which was not from the root words. In the second instance, the harf zaid is the repeated letter from the root letters. Like jal baba. Jim, lam, and be are the huruf asli. Ba is zaid. But both of them are bas, right? Therefore, similarly, the formula is same. In the word scale, what you do is you do the same thing as you've done over there. Jalbaba equals fa'ilala. Now, as I read the text that I've jotted down today, it'll be even more easier. So as I said, there are 6 segments, and we're going to discuss 5 today. 1, if the extra letter, if you can read on your screen, if the extra letter is not the same as the root letters, huruf asli, then the rule for matching, right, on the word scale, which is awzan al-kalamat, of course, in Arabic you say awzan al-kalamat, is by repeating that harf zaid, right, on the word of scale, right? If you can scroll up again, Jafi Sahab, if you can scroll up, please. Jafi Sahab, are you there? Yeah. The extra letter itself and the word is repeated. And now number 2, that's the example of jalbaba. The first one is from alim, and the second one now the example of jalbaba, where the 2 letters of the same letters are repeated, but one is zaid and one is asli. If an extra letter in a word is the same as the root letter, then what do? Then you do not repeat the extra letter on the word scale. What do? You repeat that. By that I mean, like for example, it is jalbaba. So you do not say fa'al bala, for example. No, you don't say fa'al bala, but you will repeat fa'alala. You'll repeat the lam from the word scale and make it fa'alala instead of fa'al bala, for example. Do you understand? In the first instance, you had repeated the alif. Why? Because that alif was not the same as the root letters. In this instance, you find that the harf zaid is the same as the root letters. So if it is the same, you do not repeat that letter like you did before, like in alim. But here in jalbaba, what do? You repeat the lam because it is not from the root letters, right? I hope I've made myself clear. And now, the third kind of changes that occur on a word are all of the signs of a vowel, like a, e, o, right? These are the signs of the vowels, like fath, dam, kasra. Like in Urdu, you say zabar, pesh, zir. So these are the signs of the vowels that these signs also you see in the words that they tend to change. You find the words of the same family have got different signs on them. And that is also for a reason, which as the time passes by, you will learn. What do you do when you see that kind of thing happen? So all of the signs of the vowels on a word must be repeated in the same sequence on the word scale. For example, if you find a word kataba, and you find on kaf there is a fath, on tha there is a fath, on ba there is a fath. So what do? You repeat the same way that you find the signs. You repeat all of the signs from the word on the word scale. And therefore, I must have written a word there as well, like you can see on your screen, I think. Yes, if you can please make it bigger. Nasara, for example. So noon has a zabar on it, or fath. In Urdu you say zabar. In Arabic you say fath. So noon is maftuh, sad is maftuh, and ra is maftuh. Therefore, fe, ain, and lam all have to bear the same signs as the word that you see in nasara. That is rule number 3. Now we'll move on to rule number 4. If there has been an omission of a letter from a word, by omission I mean delete. If you see that a word has a letter has been deleted, right? If a letter has been, if there has been an omission, if you can please make the screen a little more clearer. The number 3 point that I want to read. Thank you very much. Number 3, please. If there has been an omission of a letter from a word, or if there has been a deletion, same thing, omission or deletion. If you see one word and you see one letter has been deleted from this letter, from this word, and then you see another, the other word, and you don't find that letter in it, yeah, then what do? Then the rule is that you do the same in the word scale. For example, if you can move the screen up, please. I've written down an example, and I'd like to show everybody of that example. No, up. Can you move that screen down, please? Yes. Yeah. All right. Now, you see there is can you increase the screen? Yes. Thank you very much. Okay. Now I hope everybody can see very clearly. There is a تغيير قلبي, تغيير حسبي, right? تغيير حسبي, تغيير قلبي is like once you see one letter has changed into the other letter, and then you have تغيير حسبي. تغيير حسبي is like one letter is deleted from that word, right? And تغيير سكوني. Now, I've not written it correctly. When the correct word is تغيير سكوني. So تغيير قلبي, تغيير حسبي, and تغيير سكوني. تغيير قلبي is, as you can see, the word قال in the center, right in the middle. قال was actually قوالا. It has come from the word قوالا. Therefore, you can understand that the word alif was actually wow. So this alif has originated from wow, right? A change has occurred. The original word was hawala. And as you can see in the middle, The word that you find there is qala. Now, what do you do on the word scale? You will not write you will not write, for example, fa'ala. No, you can't do that. You will repeat the original word, like qawala. You will go back to the original word and then repeat it. Repeat the same pattern in the word scale. So qawala is equal to fa'ala. You understand? Qawala on the word scale will be fa'ala, or fa'ala and qawala are of the same weight on the scale. Right? Now تغيير حذفي. Sorry, now the second example is of the vowel signs sukuni. Right? Now, the word that you see on your screen is yaqulu. Now, this word was actually yaqulu, right? Because it was yaqulu, if you can just increase the, make it the screen bigger, please. Or I can zoom it myself, mashallah, I didn't know this. As you can see, yaqulu was actually, you see, yaqulu. Now, as you can see that the signs have been changed, right? Now the changes that have occurred in this word, you'll go back to the original one where the change had not been made, which was yaqulu. So therefore it's going to be yaf'ulu. As you can see, ya in the first word that you see, ya is maftuh. Therefore, in the last word of the scale that you see, ya is maftuh. Qaf is silent. So therefore, fa is silent. Waw has a pesh in Urdu, you say, sign on it, right? The dhamm sign. Waw is madmoom. Therefore, ain is madmoom. Lam is madmoom. So lam there is also madmoom, right? So therefore, yaqulu is equal to yaf'ulu. Once you see the word yaqulu, you would know that the original word was yaqulu, and therefore yaqulu is equal to yaf'ulu. You do not match the same word with the word scale, the word on the word scale. No, you match the original word. The original word was what? Yaqulu, as derived from yaqulu, right? Therefore, that original word is going to be matched on the word scale. And it is, as you see on your screen, yaqulu. Now, if we can scroll down and we'll go to the third. Yes, thank you very much. Now we come to the third category, which is the deletion or taghyir hazfi. You see the word qul in the center. Now this word qul was actually qawl. Qaf had a zabar on it or a fath. Waw was silent and lam was also silent. Right? From the word qawl comes qul. Waw was deleted for a reason. And now these principles are going to come later on, because it's not, I don't want it to get very complicated at this moment. Why this happens comes later. But now we're just discussing what happens. Why it happens will come later on. Now you see that one of the letters is deleted. Qawl has become qul. Once that happens, then what do? You do not repeat the original letters like in the first two previous examples. In the first two instances, you had to repeat from the original word had to be matched with the word scale, right? But over here, when you find that there is a deletion, then you do not do the same thing. What do you do then? When you find there is a deletion in the word, then you do not go back to the original word, and you do not match the original word with the word scale. For example, you see the word qawl, you're not gonna say, for example, fa'al. No. Would you say for? Because that's the rule of al-musarf, that's what you do, right? Qawl was the original word. We're not gonna say fa'al. The word that has come out from qawl is all, and we're going to do the same in the word scale. And once you see the deletion, all is going to become full and not all, not, yes, not far, right? And now we go on to the fifth, the last but not the least. Sometimes there is a merger between the two letters, and that's called idgham, right? Once you find two letters that have merged and become one, that process is called idgham. Those letters are called huruf mushaddad. The first letter is called, now that might get a little bit more complicated. In the next lesson, I'm going to tell you all of those different names. But today we need to just learn very simply that when two letters in Arabic language, two letters of a word, once they merge or they come into collaboration with each other and they merge and they become a single letter, those huruf or those letters are called huruf mushaddad, right? Now there are different kinds of these mergers or idgham. This process, this merger is called idgham in Arabic language. So there are different kinds of mergers. Either the letters are both asli, or if you scroll down, then you'll see the differences. Either they're both, once you see the merger of the letters, you see that both are asli, that have merged into each other. For example, madda. If you open the word madda, it was actually ma da da, and as you can see, dal and dal have been repeated. Both of the dals were root letters. Both of the dals were huruf asli. So madda was actually madada. So that in this kind that you see, the idgham that I'm talking about, the merger of the letters that I'm talking about, the first kind is when you see that the two letters that have merged into each other are of the same family, you can say, the same letters, right? So the two letters that you see are huruf asli, dal is asli, dal is asli. Both of the dals are asli in madda, right? So what do? In this case also, you go back to this root word and you say fa'ala instead of madda, because what you have done with madda is you have opened up this word madda. You see the tashdid sign. When you read in Qur'an, you will also notice in Qur'an, when Arabs write sentences, they don't write this tashdid there. You see this tashdid on dal? This three kind of a sign that you see on dal, tashdid. It's called tashdid, right? This tashdid, you don't find it when Arabs write down anything. They just know it. But for non-Arabs, that's the way, that's the norm. These are the usual norms that you write the tashdid on top of it, because you know the two letters have, no, sorry, I'm still there. I'm not finished. I'm not finished, please. Please go back to the word. Thank you, yeah. right? Madada. Now, if you see that the two letters have merged into each other and they've become one, and you see the word madda, and that is on the scale, it is fa'ala. And fa'ala, you did not say falla or fa'a. For example, you did not say that, but you have said fa'ala. Why? Because you have opened up the letter. That's what you're required to do. When you see a merger, try to open it up to find out huruf asli and zaid. So once you have opened it up, you know it has come from madada, and therefore it will be balanced and weighed on the word scale, and it will be fa'ala. Madada equals to fa'ala. Now the second thing is that now in the first case here, you can see that the two letters are the same. Huruf asli. Huruf asli, two huruf asli repeated again. And now in the second example, please scroll down the screen. Yes, thank you very much. Now in the second instance, you see that in ijli was, right? The two vowels, both of them are zaid. Jim, lam, and waw are the real actual root letters, right? Now, if you can see, yeah, can you scroll up, please, a little bit? I'll read from the text to make it simple. Jafi sir, can you scroll down, please? The previous one. Yes. Yes. If they are both zaid, like the word ijli was, then you must repeat the letters on the word scale. Like ijli was, as you can see, if, wal. You see the two vowels, both of them were zaid, right? Ijli was is equal to if, wal. Fe, and lam, right? Now, if you can move on to the second one, please. Now, sometimes there's another category of huruf mushaddad, and that is sometimes you're not able to distinguish the differences between huruf asli and huruf zaid. What do you do then? Sometimes you have rules in al-Sarf to distinguish between the harf asli and harf zaid. When you find a merger has happened, and then you open up the letters and you open up the word, you can find out by looking at the letters which letter was asli and which letter was zaid. That's one way. And the other way is, of course, when you take all of the kalamat al-mutanajis, like I said in the previous lessons, and you take all and you see which ones, which are the huruf that are repeated always in all of those, the family of all of the family words, then those letters are huruf asli. And the third way is like if you go and refer to an Arabic dictionary and you see the word there, and the root letters will come out from the dictionary as well. Now, sometimes now this is an example that I want to give you. Sometimes there are ways to find out if there is a merger between the two letters. One of these letters has to be asli and the other has to be zaid, or two of them, both of them are asli, or both of them are zaid, right? In the case where one is asli and one is zaid, it's very hard to distinguish. Sometimes you can understand and you can know, there are ways to find out through ilm sarf which one is asli and which one is zaid. The first one is asli or the second one is asli. The first one is asli and the second one is zaid, or the second one is asli and the first one is zaid. You don't know. What do you do? Right? You can't do anything about it if there's no way to find out. For example, in this word, muallim. Muallim, over here you find two lams, right? One of the lam, ilm, you know the root letters of muallim is ilm, right? As you know from the beginning, you have been learning it. So muallim, two of the lams, one of the lam is repeated. So one of them is asli because ilm, right? So lam, one of the lam is from ilm, one is asli and one is zaid. But which one is Zaid and which one is not Zaid? The first one is Zaid or the second one is Zaid? The first one is Asli or the second one is Asli? There's no way to find out. Therefore, once there's no way to find out, you just leave it as it is. Muallim is equal to Fa'alil. Right? And now, if you can scroll up, please. Yeah, now you can read from I can read from the text that sometimes you can distinguish between the two letters, right? And the same thing that I've just said, it's just written there. And so, as you can see, that, you know, the things that I've just talked about, that's basically what's written there. And inshallah, today, I think that's the end of the session. I think we're coming towards the end of the session, yeah. So, inshallah, see you tomorrow. Please go through my notes, and if you read them, inshallah, you won't even need to go back to my lesson and listen to what I'm saying. If you just read these notes, inshallah, it'll become even more clear. And tomorrow, today we have just given you the 5 categories of the words, and tomorrow we're going to give you the 6th one, and we'll take on from there, inshallah, the 6th lesson. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. But before we leave, sorry, are there any questions?
Sir, I have one question.
Yes.
Yes,
Hello?
Sir, in the last example of 2 harf zaid in Muallim, there were 2 memes instead of 2 lams.
No. Muallim.
Yeah,
Lam
now,
has been merged with another lam. And in both of these lam, I did not say that both of them are asli or both of them are zaid. I said one is asli and one is zaid. Because muallim, if you look at the word
there is
muallim,
one lam. My question is, instead of a lam, there are 2 memes, one in the starting and one at the end of the word. Twice meme has been there.
no,
If I'm wrong,
muallim.
yeah.
I understand what you're saying. We're talking about the segment where there is tashaddud. There is a merger of 2 lams. Right?
Okay. Yeah. What you
Now you understand. We're talking about tashaddud. We're talking about hurufe tashaddud. We're talking about the mergers of letters. Right? In these merger, in this merger where it has occurred, the 2 of the lams, one is asli and one is zaid.
Sure, I understand.
You're right. In muta'allim, for example, or muallim, meme is also harf zaid. Ilm is the root word, right? So, and lam and meme in the last, these are the root words. But in muallim, the first meme is also zaid. You're right. But we're not discussing that because you already know it's just zaid. What we're discussing is that the 2 lams that you see in the center, muallim, 2 lams has become one single lam. One is zaid, one is asli.
I understand. I mean, this is the magic of the hadith, which is, I just, forget. I mean, this is.
Yeah, it's called idgham. Yes.
Idgham.
This merger is called idgham. Right?
Shukran jazeelan. Yes, sir. Now understand. Thank you very much.
Now you understand. Thank you very much. Thank you for asking. Is there anybody else who wants to ask a question, please?
Yes, Aghajan, a quick one from me. But pardon my oblivion, I'm just still trying to grasp the idea of the word matching and the word scale, because once we see the word, do we actually, while going through the Arabic letters or words, moving forward, the word scale, would it be a default part of our understanding, or we'll be comparing it with the afal or maful or all these word scales? Or I'm just trying to say, I mean, when you're saying it is equal to maful, if it is equal to fa'il, or
Yes.
I don't know if I'm clear in my
I understand what
question.
you're saying. Yeah, like for example, in Farsi, you call that a gardan, right? You're Persian speaking. Gardan, raftan, butan, right? It's similarly, In Persian, there are 6, but in Arabic, on the word scale, once we're going to go there, we're going to memorize them. There are 14 of them instead of 6.
Okay.
Right?
Got it.
We're going to
Got
learn
it.
them, and that's going to be the same as like what you're saying. We have to memorize them, like fa'ala, fa'ala, fa'alu, fa'alat, fa'alat, fa'alna, fa'alta, fa'altuma, fa'altunna, so on and so forth. 14 of them. Now, once you have
Okay.
memorized them, you would know it is past tense or present tense or future tense, and so on and so forth. Yeah, but that
Right.
will come later on. Once today, what we're doing at the beginning is that we are just discussing what it is, how it's going to be, and what it's going to be is going to come later on. But we're just discussing the exact, the picture. I'm just showing the picture that these things are done in this way. But later on, when those things come, all of those things that you learn in the beginning is going to become really, really like peanuts and very easy.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you very much. Jazakallah.
Most welcome. Okay. Thank you. Is there any more questions? And please, I'd like to add, Jafri Sahab, that once you learn those things, that the gardan that you call in Persian, once you learn them and memorize them, then you will know that all of the words that you see in Arabic, most of the Arabic words will become very, very simple. And along with those tablets, that templatic system, or the word scale, those things that you see, and combine it with the word scale that I'm talking about, the principles. Yeah. Once you combine them, then you will get, all of your mind is going to open. It's like mind boggling, for example. The words that you will see, you'll start enjoying all of the words, inshallah. I do understand that today was, it might have been a little bit confusing or maybe a little bit more difficult. But as you go through the notes and you read those notes that I've, shared with you on the screen today, once you read them, because there's a repetition of words again and again, and there are different situations. So the different situations said again and again with the same words, similar words, so it becomes a little confusing. But once you read the notes, it'll become easy for you, inshallah.
Inshallah. Got it.
Okay.
Got it.
Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. And brothers, we will be sharing these notes, as Aghajan mentioned, on the group of WhatsApp group. And our next session will be on Sunday now. Is that correct, Aghajan? Sunday.
Yes.
9:30.
Yes. Sunday.
Yes, Sunday 9:30 p.m. So look forward to seeing you all on Sunday 9:30 p.m. With that note, I would like to end and conclude. So you all have a good day, good afternoon, good evening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.